All right, in this first video, I'm gonna try to address probably what's the most often, the most recurrent mistake I see new traders, incurring into on a daily basis, and that's over zooming your charts, or rather, over zooming out your charts. Okay. The thing is that most traders don't know what's the correct chart zoom level to read price action. You see, if you overly zoom out your charts, you won't be able to actually read price. If this is your standard chart, and then you see that your individual candles, your individual price candles are so compressed, so tightly compressed to each other that you mostly see actually your chart looks like if it was a line chart instead of a candle chart anymore, where, like I say, the individual candles are too compressed within each other, so you can't barely see the candles anymore. Well, chances are that you are zooming out your charts too much, all right? And as a result, you won't be able to see the individual candles anymore. Well, guess what, guys? You want to see the individual candles. You want to clearly identify those individual candle bodies, their candle wicks, etc., etc. Okay? The thing is that if you notice that you are too zoomed out, you may be better off simply switching to a larger time frame. So, if this specific chart was, for example, the 1 hour time frame, all right, and you were trying to map out the entire week worth of price action, let's say, I don't know, maybe 5 days worth of price action, well, that may be a little too much for the 1 hour time frame. Hey, why not simply switching to the 4 hour time frame, and you will be able to map pretty much the same time span, but now you will be able to see the individual candles. This time around, obviously, the 4 hour time frame candles, right? So you don't really need to squeeze to tighten your individual candles too much, all right? Simply switch to a larger time frame and space out your individual candles so you can actually read them. All right. Again, following the same, the same train of thought. You don't necessarily need to squeeze in 200 candles within your chart. All right. No need for that. If you see that you need to scroll back, okay, in order to see, I don't know, previous price action in your chart, well. Maybe you are better off once again using a larger time frame. All right. Believe it or not, scrolling back is usually not necessary when you try to read your charts. And the reason for that is because markets, as I always say, have a very short memory span. Guys, drill this in your mind because it's very important. The markets have a very short memory span. So if you're charting in the 1 hour time frame and, well, for whatever reason you see that you want to check back whatever happened on the previous week, hey, you don't want to still use the 1 hour time frame in order to see whatever happened in the previous, whatever happened last week as far as the 1 hour time frame goes. All right, you don't want to do that. Instead, if you want to read whatever happened on the previous week, what you want to do instead is, again, go into the 4 hours time frame, perhaps on the daily time frame, and then simply take a look at whatever happened on the previous week, on the previous month, etc., etc. Again, I repeat, scrolling back is usually not necessary when it comes to read price. All right, previous times are better checked from a larger time frame perspective. All right, guys. Alright, I figure it's probably better to make my point by actually showing you an actual chart. Alright, we are now looking into the euro against the American dollar, 1 hour time frame, but what I'm about to explain can be equally applied no matter the currency pair and no matter the time frame. All right, regardless of whatever currency pair and time frame you are charting, you want to use the same principles. So in order to this is, by the way, the desirable zoom level, okay, that you want to apply to your charts. Again, no matter also whatever trading system you're using, try to always use this specific chart zoom level. And in order to get to this zoom level, all you have to do in MetaTrader, I assume 90% of you will be using MetaTrader as your charting platform of choice. All you have to do is to zoom in twice. Okay, this is the maximum zoom level allowed by MetaTrader. All right, you can't zoom in anymore, and then simply zoom out twice. There goes one, and there goes once again. And this is the correct, okay, the appropriate zoom level for, you know, reading price action comfortably on your screen. Okay, also I usually recommend to compress a little bit the vertical distance, okay, the height of the chart, by simply, you know, compressing that a little bit by clicking and dragging here on the vertical axis, right? So try to compress it a little bit to make it more comfortable, and there it is. This is the appropriate zoom level that you want to use yourself. Okay, please note how you can both read the the overall outline of the market swings, but at the same time you can also read the individual candles, both their bodies and their wicks. Okay, that's very important. Like I said before, a common mistake most new traders make is to try to zoom out as much as possible in order to pack in again as much information as possible within one single chart window, and absolutely you can still see the outline, the overall outline of price behavior, right, the individual price swings, but you can't read anymore the individual candles, right, and therefore price action becomes impossible, really. Okay, so keep that in mind. Like I said before, zoom in as much as possible and then zoom out once or twice maximum, no more than that. Compress vertically, and there you are. That's the most appropriate view for your chart. Now, as far as scrolling back in time, all right, pretty much the same principle applies. You usually don't need scrolling back in time, is usually unnecessary when it comes to trading. How is that? Because of what I mentioned previously in this video. The markets, believe it or not, the markets have a very short time span memory. Okay, that means that whatever happened in at this junction, in this section of the chart, is hardly relevant enough to whatever is happening right now at current market level. All right, at current market price, because at this specific time the market has long forgotten this, for example, this downtrend. Okay, here we have a very obvious downtrend. Well, guess what? The market has long forgotten about that downtrend, and no matter what information you can extract from this downtrend is not relevant anymore to whatever trading decision you may have to take right now at current ticking market price, right? So if for whatever reason you want to pack in more information in your chart, don't scroll back, guys, but simply switch to a larger time frame. Right now we are looking into the 1 hour time frame. Well, you are much better off simply zooming out into the 4 hours time frame, and there you go. Now you can clearly see that downtrend that I was talking about before. All right, but remember, guys, you always want to get all your information within one single chart window. No need to scroll back at all. No need to compress your candles to the point where price has simply become unreadable. All right, keep all the information you need in one single chart window, okay, with large enough candles so you can view the individual candle bodies and the individual candle wicks. And like I said before, if you need to scroll back in time to read past a price action, instead of scrolling back, simply switch again to a larger time frame. So from the 4 hours time frame, you would obviously switch to the daily. All right, and from here you can identify those clear long-term levels of support, those clear long-term levels of resistance, etc., etc. In fact, believe it or not, it's usually much easier to identify those levels of support and resistance that if this is the daily time frame, that if I was to, for example, use I don't know, let's say the 4 hours time frame, and let me scroll all the way forward, just 1 second, guys, and then simply zoom out as much as possible. If I zoom out, I can still identify those levels of support, okay, and I can still identify the same levels of resistance. So by zooming in, by compressing my candles, by packing in more information into my chart, I'm not really extracting any more valuable information at all, right? There is no need to stress my 4 hours time frame chart this much, because I am getting exactly the same information that if I zoomed out into the daily time frame and then I spaced out a little bit my candles, I can still get the same levels of support and the same levels of resistance. Moreover, my viewing experience on the chart is more accurately, and the whole charting experience is more pleasant, cleaner, so to speak, and as a result, as you get familiar with chart reading, it will become also more accurate. All right, guys, so once again, just to wrap up this video, remember, you just need one fixed chart window, okay, one fixed chart window size, one fixed zoom level, okay, chart zoom level, and if you need to get more information, simply switch to a larger time frame instead of zooming out your chart or instead of scrolling back in time. All right, that's my recommendation, guys. It's been working fantastically well for me, and I'm sure these little tips will work also very well for you. Cheers. Bye-bye.